Hey guys, you ever wonder why you can't lose weight? Do you ever wonder why you've developed high blood pressure? Have you ever wondered why some people get Alzheimer's disease and some don't? Do you ever wonder why you don't have any energy? Well, today we're going to talk about metabolic health. Now, when we talk about our health, the one thing that I think so many people get this wrong is we talk about health in silos. And what I mean by that is if you have diabetes, you have that in one area. If you have high blood pressure, that's another silo. That's a different area. If you lack energy, that's another silo, a different place. What if all those things had a common underlying reason why you have the things that you have, or the things that you are frustrated that you're not being able to do, like to lose weight, energy, things like that. When we think about health, the thing I think we need to really step back and think about is it's kind of like a soup. It's kind of like everything's interactive. One thing is going to affect another. If you make some soup and you have too much salt in it, it's going to affect the taste of the whole soup. You can't just correct the amount of vegetables or meat or whatever that you put into your soup. It all interacts with each other. So what we need to do is try to think about, okay, how does one thing affect another? And if we can correct those type of things, then I think we can optimize our health and live a healthy life that God has intended us to live. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Kevin Davis. I'm a physician assistant, an online health coach. I help people who are struggling with their health, struggling with their weight, struggling with not having muscle, their lack of energy, so that I can correct the underlying root cause of their problems so that they can live a more healthier, enjoyable life. And what I want to say is, like, if you think about your health, think about it like a tree, okay? And on the limbs of the tree, you have things like one limb is a lack of energy. One limb is high blood pressure. One limb is weight gain. Another limb is Alzheimer's. And on those limbs, if you trace the limbs back to the trunk and you trace them back down to the soil, you trace them back to the root of that tree, if you don't have good roots there, then what you're going to have is your limbs are going to be representative of what kind of root system do you have. So instead of concentrating on the roots, if you're someone who is wanting to lose weight, instead of concentrating on losing weight, what you need to do is try to figure out what is it that is making you gain weight. Now, obviously, some people, it's real obvious, you're eating too much. But the question becomes, why are you eating too much? Is it hunger? Is it emotional? Is it your hormones? Is it cortisol? There's a lot of underlying reasons why we can have that can cause us to have the symptoms that we want to get. So at the end of this video podcast, we're going to give you 5 different things, I think, key areas that you need to focus on. And the one thing that is coming up, and if you're watching this, within the days of release, we're going to have a masterclass that you're going to be able to register for. And I'll put the link in before. It's a free masterclass. And obviously, it's going to be something that is going to help teach you, some of the underlying reasons why you have metabolic dysfunction. And, again, going back to metabolic dysfunction is how your body uses and stores energy. And if it's not doing it correctly, then you're going to have these other problems. So this masterclass is going to teach you a little bit about why some of this dysfunction happens, and just point out some stuff that maybe you can take home and be able to start implementing in your life. Obviously, I'm an online health coach. And I'm very excited to announce that, I'm releasing my new 12-week online group coaching. Normally I do one-on-one, which I still do, but I'm going to be able to release this course. And we're going to walk through these steps together, and we're going to see how that can help. So what is the big statement that I think that we need to have? And I wrote this out. I'm going to read it. By embracing your metabolic health today, you can have the chance to rewrite your story and create a legacy of wellness that will endure for generations. So when I added that last little part because for generations. You know, how you are doing things right now is, you know, if you have kids or you have grandkids, the things that you're doing is going to influence them. And if you can influence them in a positive way, you know, that's something that's really motivating to myself and to my wife today, as far as doing the things that we need to do. But also, you can rewrite your story now. You know, if you're somebody who is feeling tired all the time, there's a reason for you feeling tired. I think God made us to be able to, have energy, to be able to sleep well, to have a good sex life, within the confines of a marriage. And if you're not enjoying these type of things, then I think that you have to kind of step back and think, okay, what am I doing? You know, what is it that is getting in my way to getting the results that I want to get? And that's where I can kind of help come in to help you get to that point. So let's talk about 5 things that we're going to talk about in the masterclass that I talk about in my coaching, whether it be one-on-one or group coaching. And these are some of the things I think that will help you kind of like get to the point where you need to be so that you can get the results. Number 1, prioritize protein. You know, so many times people are confused on what to eat. You know, do I eat high fat, low carb, high carb? You know, how much sugar am I eating? And I think it really gets confusing as far as like what you should be eating. And I think if we can kind of like simplify that to where, okay, the first thing we need to do is prioritize protein. And in my online group coaching, we talk about how much protein you should have. And then once you get from there, then you can figure out the carbs and the fats and things like that, how many calories maybe you should be getting. And that becomes an individual basis. But I think across the board, you know, unless you have some kind of renal dysfunction, renal failure, things like that, you need to really prioritize protein to get the amounts that you need to get. Number 2, you need to overcome roadblocks. You know, so many times we have all the information that we need to have, but we don't implement it. Something gets in our way. Maybe it's a lack of time. Maybe you think you don't have enough money to buy, quote, healthy food. Maybe you have kids and you have activities. There's a lot of things that get in our way as far as overcoming. And I've worked with a lot of people, and we're able to find little things that we can incorporate into their daily lives so that they can get the results that they want. And it becomes just developing new habits. So, you know, you have habits, whether they're good or bad, you still have habits. What we want to do is introduce habits that are good. You know, what we want to do is replace some of the bads with the goods. The question is, how do you do it? You know, if you try to do an overhaul, which most people do around the first of the year, they try to change everything, it gets overwhelming. So they don't do anything. They may do it for a week, but then they quit because it gets overwhelming. But if you can have somebody there holding you accountable, whether it be an individual or a group, so that you can get the results you want to get, then you're going to be able most likely to achieve greater goals by coming together as a community. Number 3, in our online group coaching, you'll get a personalized blueprint. Now, it's not as personalized. I'll be upfront with you. It's not as personalized as when I do one-on-one. I spend a lot more time with a one-on-one client than, of course, with a group. But the group coaching, you're going to get a personalized plan. Within the course, you're going to be able to know what you should be eating, how much you should be eating, those type of things. We even have an app that shows exercise. So you're going to be able to know what kind of exercises that you can do, whether it be body weight, dumbbells. You know, we have different things as far as that you're going to be able to implement into your life. A lot of these are going to be aimed at healing what we call metabolic dysfunction. And when we heal that metabolic dysfunction, then things get better. And if you don't know, I wrote a book. It's 4 Pillars of Health, which is diet, exercise, sleep, and prayer. We incorporate these because I think truly, if you don't incorporate these 4 things into the personalized plan, then you're not going to be able to get the results that you want to get. So many times I've had people, nail their diet, nail their exercise. They even start praying, but they just can't sleep. And if you don't do that 4th thing, it makes it hard for everything else to come in to where it needs to be, so that you can optimize your health. 4th thing, we're going to give you in-depth insights. You know, how many times have you had a question? How many times have something about your health, and you type it into Google, you look on YouTube, and you try to find the answer. Now, what if you had somebody who within a Facebook community or in our weekly group coaching, you could ask that question. You could get to the answers and you can understand the why. And that's one of the things I kind of try to pride myself on is that we're able to teach people not exactly, here's what to do, but here's what to do plus why are you doing it. Then you can understand what's going on, and I think you can make better decisions for that. And fifthly, within our group coaching, you're going to have community support. I always, if you don't hear anything else, I always say community is more powerful than willpower. Willpower on its own is only going to last for so long. It's January 7th, I think, right now when I'm doing this podcast in YouTube video. What if you made a resolution on January 1st? Have you kept it? So many times that willpower, we can fight it, we can, struggle through it. But what happens is it usually overtakes us, and you'll learn the why behind. You'll learn why dopamine plays a part in lack of willpower, because there's only so much dopamine that can keep reproducing the same events. It's the hormone of more. You'll learn stuff like that so you can understand, okay, if I'm having struggle doing something, and I'm putting myself in this position, you'll learn not to put yourself in that position to get that same old results. You'll put yourself in a new position so that you can get new results. So our group coaching, our first webinar, I'm excited to do that. Never done a webinar before. So my first webinar is next Monday, January 15th. You can still sign up. I'll put the link in the show notes here on my podcast as well as in my YouTube channel. And you can register. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And if it's something that you're interested in, you think it can help you get the results, obviously we'll have a phone call maybe afterwards and see if it's something that you want to pursue so that in 12 weeks you become a new person. You become a better version of what you are right now as far as your overall health. So I look forward to having that webinar. Kind of excited about it, kind of nervous about it. I don't know exactly if I'll be how I'll do on it, but you guys will forgive me because hopefully who I am, and you've listened to me enough to know, I just try to speak the truth in love to help you guys get to where you want to go. Anyway, hopefully this has helped. If you have questions about anything, attend the webinar. You can ask questions on that, and I'll be able to help you any way that I can. And I look forward to seeing you. Remember, be fit and be faithful. And one thing I forgot to do was our catechisms last month. Catechisms is just we're going through catechisms. And if you don't know what catechism is, it's some foundational truths of Scripture. We left off back in April of last year. That's when I left off my last podcast. But we're going to pick that up. We're going to Catechism number 76. It says, what is a third commandment? Third commandment is, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. His name is so precious. His name it should be above any and all names. So many times you hear people use his name in vain, and they don't really realize what they're doing. And you don't really to hear about other religions and their gods, using their names in vain like you do our Lord Jesus Christ. So hopefully you're not using that. And, if you do hear other people, and I've asked this many a time, I've heard people say things, and I said, I don't really, if you curse, you curse. I can't help you. But if you're using that Lord's name around me, I just ask you not to do that. And it makes an impact. So, if you hear people using his name in vain, step up, and make an impact on that person's life. And by saying, ask them not to do that. And it may start a conversation that can lead to much better things like salvation. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. We'll see you guys all next week. And remember, be fit and be faithful, guys.